Well, yeah, tough film to watch on Sunday. Really, all three phases, some factors that helped us lose that game. I did feel kind of like I felt after the game. I thought Cal played really well and really we got beat. The quarterback executed for them. Defensively, they created some turnovers and stops. Obviously, they created the game-changing play on special teams, so give those guys a credit again. So we got a lot to work on, emphasize, got to get better at. We were back to work for a quick practice yesterday that I thought the energy was solid at. And we're on to the next, just like each week. And in this league, you got to play well and bring your A game to get wins on Saturday. And we're going to have to do the same thing on the road against Colorado, who, they present some problems just like each team does. They got some good players and coaches over there, and we know it'll be a challenge.
Start with the running game. In regards to BJ, when he fumbled on the first play, did you feel in any way like that got in his head at all during the game?
I know he's frustrated with himself. I think he came back and tried to battle and had a couple good carries. It's deflating to start that way, not just for BJ, but for a lot of guys. Would have loved to have a better answer to at least maybe try to hold him to a field goal. But, he had some good carries. We got some other backs that can carry the ball too, and that's the way the game played out.
When you watched the video, what did you see? I mean, it's 134 yards isn't terrible, but it's not up to the standard. You guys, what went? I guess what went wrong?
I think Cal tackled well out of their secondary in particular. Getting down the line of scrimmage. The creases we've been creating previously weren't quite as wide. Give credit again to Cal coming off the ball. And it's tough to be rushed for every game, and it wasn't there.
You looked like Chance ran at least a couple of design runs in the first half, and I don't think he ran any in the second half. Did you see something there, or is that something you guys kind of want to keep exploring?
Yeah, I know he pulled the ball on one, which each week on that particular type of play, he's got the opportunity to pull it and take off. We're not shy if we feel like there's a good matchup for him to directly carry it, we'll do it. But there wasn't a larger emphasis or anything totally different.
Jonathan, did you see the kind of response you wanted from the guys since Saturday? And if so, what do you look for when it comes to the attitude of the guys after a loss, whether it be the film sessions or team meetings or practices? What do you kind of look for?
Well, you could feel the mood. It's a big group, right? And so you felt the mood of disappointment. We got some guys that were frustrated, which is, I think, a healthy thing. You're trying to win games and you come away with a loss. It shouldn't feel good. I thought the energy and movement at a Sunday practice the day after getting back at midnight, but we're back to work in the afternoon. I thought that was good. Guys know that we got to recover. We got to get the blood flowing on a Sunday. We got to clean up mistakes, and all that got accomplished.
And this is the first time you guys are going back to Boulder since your first conference win. Do you take time to think about that at all? And what do you like the most of the way the program's kind of taken steps forward since one of your first kind of big moments as Beavers head coach?
Yeah, definitely enjoyed that win at that time for those guys in that class, and the season we were having to find a way to win a game like that was great. A lot of things have happened since. I will say I like that stadium, just like each one in the league. There's some cool things, uniqueness about it, but natural grass, tight sideline, they usually have a great crowd. And so we know it's going to be a challenge playing in a tough place and a tough environment.
My question is kind of along the lines of one you just asked, but how have you seen your team stay united and regroup after losses this season compared to maybe the last couple of years?
Yeah. I do talk a lot about the leadership on this team. I just think there's some ownership on this team. Guys, are owning up. Like, hey, when it was good enough, guys let each other know. When it's not good enough, they let each other know. We understand it's a team game, and we need everybody. All three phases, each individual guy, and they're competitive, and there's some extreme ownership on this team.
And as far as desired improvement defensively, what are maybe some of those focus areas this week?
Mm-hmm. Each scheme is going to be a little bit different, but we got to be assignment. You can play great defense 55 snaps and have 10 that are not good, and it's not going to be a good night. Physicality into tackling, especially out of the back end, we can get some guys on the ground better. We got to find a way to take the ball away. And in this league, people aren't just going to give you the ball. They're not going to just drop it. We got to find ways, though, to change the game and create some takeaways.
We've seen now a couple of times, mostly on the road, but I've seen it at home where your guy, this may happen to other teams, will get the ball, whether it's a punt return or a catch or something from the other team. And this week it was the 32.5, 33-yard line, and the official put it back to the 30. What are they saying? This is happening a lot. And it was clear that a Beaver player had the ball at the 32.5 on the exchange of possession, and they put it back to the 30. What do they tell you on that?
Haven't had a lot of conversations with them. I haven't taken notice that it happened repeatedly. I look into it. I know those guys, referees, that job's not easy. But we got technology for, I know, instant replay, and this stuff's on TV. It's probably why you know it so obviously. But, yeah, I haven't taken notice of it.
You commented after the game the other night about when players have a play to be made, they need to make it. But you also said that as coaches, you need to put them in better positions too. What specifically did you see from that game that maybe the coaches could have put a player in a better position?
Yeah, there's a lot of play calling goes on and strategy on both sides. Offensively, us, Cal, everybody is always trying to find great matchups on the flip side of that. And so we're trying to avoid some mismatches defensively. Example was the touchdown throw. We got a receiver getting covered by, Avery Roberts, which again was a great call. Defensively zone pressure and matching up Avery on the receiver that's not a great matchup. So just better play call by Cal, not as good by us. That's an example of one. And look, you're always not always going to have the best play call. I coached quarterbacks for a long time and called a lot of plays, and all of them weren't great. He's got to help me out. If it's not a good play, let's not make it worse. And so there's some back and forth on that. And I think it matters to our players that we're not going to just sit here and tell them, look, you got to play better. We got to keep working to find ways to put you in the best situations. And so there's some back and forth with that.
Brandon Kipper came out of the game a few times. What is there?
He wasn't completely healthy. He'd been battling some things with an ankle. We feel really good about where Tolly's at and headed, and so felt like giving Kipper a blow once in a while, getting Tolly some experience. Similar to really Marco. Levengood wasn't as healthy as we'd liked. It felt great with Marco, but previous games we've kind of put Marco in a little bit. So that's all that was. We're not down on Kip. It's just he's not 100%.
You had 3 turnovers in the game, and the 2 interceptions, you could probably make some excuse for them, trying to make a play on late in the game and the tip ball. But you've got 10 now in conference play, and you guys have always been really good at keeping your turnovers to a minimum. The 10 in 5 games probably is getting to the edge of not being that.
Yeah.
What are you seeing?
Right. We've got a few tip balls, and we get the ball on the ground from the quarterback position. We talked a little bit about that in previous games. And look, we don't want to turn the ball over, but we're not going to get ultra conservative just to avoid doing that. We've thrown some balls in contested areas, and we had another one tipped up in the areas, getting defended, gets picked off. Same thing that happened at Washington State. We got a contested ball we're throwing, gets tipped up in the air, gets picked off. The quarterback put it on the ground a few times, so that's why the number's where it's at, and we want to get it better.
Inman's been one of the top defenders in this league for a long time. If he's able to go this week, what does he bring to the table for the Buffs?
Yeah, experience, physicality is instinctive at that position, very productive tackler. And that makes a difference for those guys. Wasn't on the tape last week, and he's been a good player in this league for a long time.
And on the offensive side of the ball, there have been a couple games where Colorado hasn't scored many points, but they're coming off of a pretty solid game offensively against Oregon. When things are going well for them on that side of the ball, what kind of challenges do they present?
Yeah, they can spread you out. The quarterback can pull the ball and create, running it, throws it well. Like you mentioned, they did score a good decent amount of points last week. And I just feel like each of these games are unique to themselves. You know, what takes place before really doesn't have a huge impact on the 60 minutes that we're headed toward this Saturday. And so, again, we're going to have to play well and go earn a win.
Coach, you said you liked Valise and you liked the way Marco Brewer played. Do you hope, I mean, is it your hope, though, to have the core 5 guys back maybe a little bit healthier for Colorado?
Yeah, you're always hoping guys get healthy, and we get into later in the week and see how practice goes and see what guys' health are to make an exact plan on how we're going to play, if we just stick with 5, or we're going to do a rotation or not. But, yeah, you'd love to be at full strength at every spot.
The third down defense, this game felt a little different than some of the other ones in that these were a lot of third, and I think 10 of the 13 were 3rd and 4 short. That speaks more to you weren't very good on first and second down. Did you feel like this game was a little different than some of the other ones?
Yeah, for that reason you're talking about. There wasn't the extreme number of high, 3rd and longs that got converted. We got to be better on first and second down. A couple of leaky yardage, gain of 2 turns into a gain of 4. We weren't in the backfield nearly as much. Tackles for loss or sack creating the longer distance. So it felt different that way.
Rajon Wright came out of the game late in the game. Was he?
He's healthy? No, yeah.
Alton Julian, where did you miss him? He obviously not going to have him the rest of the year, but where do you miss him the most?
Well, by him playing, and he's been a good tackler, productive player for us, so we're missing that. But also by the depth of him having to not being there, you're rotating your secondary in different spots. Jaden, when Alton's good to go, he plays nickel the whole time. Katana, I actually thought played pretty well in this game, physicality-wise. So with Alton being out, it changes your rotation a little bit, which, more than halfway through the year, everybody's dealing with something. But we're missing his tackling and missing his, ability to be flexible with our rotation. Thanks, guys.